Are you thinking about moving to the Ridges in Summerlin, Nevada? Well, you're going to want to watch this video because I'll be breaking down the Ridges into 4 categories: lifestyle, cost, location, and safety. Okay, let's jump right into location. I think the Ridges, it has one of the best locations in Summerlin because it's so close to the heart of Summerlin, which is downtown Summerlin. Its cross streets are Red Rock Country Club Drive and Desert Inn and Flamingo. It has a gate on each side. One entrance is at Desert Inn and another is at Flamingo. So it's really convenient to even access the community once you're inside. It's about a 30-minute drive to our city center, which I'm using the Aria and City Center as our city center because it's super central. And also about a 30-minute drive to the airport for all of you who do a lot of traveling. If you happen to need more information about a very specific location that you're interested in moving to, make sure to send me a text message. My number is going to be on the screen. Okay, so let's talk about cost, because in order to move into the Ridges, you're going to have to be able to afford the housing that's behind the gates. So the Ridges is made up of 14 communities. 9 of them are custom, 4 are higher and luxury tract homes, and 1 is a townhome community. So you're going to want to know that if you get into the townhome communities, that would be the least expensive. You're talking about starting prices around $1.5 million. And I've seen some for up to $2 million. And then to get into those luxury tract homes that I'm talking about, those start at about $2.5 million. And when you move up to custom homes, you're looking at about $4 million all the way up to a couple like $10, $20 million, depending on the neighborhood and the home. Some other costs that come along with living in the Ridges, of course, are HOA fees. And they all range depending on which neighborhood you live in, but for the most part, they're about $400 a month for your Ridges dues and another $55 for Summerlin South. And I've never seen one over $500. I'm sure it might exist out there. Don't quote me on that or hold me to it, but for the most part, they're under $500. And I'm sure you're going to want to immerse yourself into the community and maybe want to go to things like the gym. And the closest gym to the Ridges is Lifetime Fitness, and those dues are close to $200 a month per person. And families, of course, get a little bit of a discount. I think I pay $40 per kid after the 3rd member or something like that. There's also Las Vegas Athletic Club, and they have memberships starting as low as $15 a month. And of course, then we have a bunch of boutique fitness places like yoga studios, cycle studios, infrared sauna workout places. And those generally have classes that start between $20 and $25 each class, depending. And of course, you can buy packages for discounted classes as well. And I think one of the most forgotten or looked over things that buyers have when they purchase some of these luxury homes is that when you increase to such a large size of home, your utility bills increase as well, or just the overall maintenance. So some of those things I wanted to kind of compile for you, just an estimate of what I've seen my bills and my friends who talk about what they pay for maintenance of their homes in the Ridges will cost you if you purchase here. So on average in Vegas, cooling your home, of course, is going to be the most expensive thing, right? We use electric for cooling. So in the summertime, our power bills do go up pretty considerably. And for about a 6,500 square foot home, I think the average bill will be about $750 to $800 a month during those summer months. Of course, you can work something out with the power company where you get equal payments and they do an average over your 12 months. so your summer bills aren't so high. You're just paying an even amount throughout the year. But they are higher and they do cost more. And it does depend, of course, on the age of your home, the energy efficiency of your home, and personal desires of temperature, because I know some people who keep their homes at 68 and others that keep it at 78. So of course your bill is going to vary based on that. Another expense that people don't consider when they move into these larger homes is landscape. A lot of the homes in the Ridges are on at least a half an acre, and the landscape can get costly, especially when you have or desire to have mature trees and keep them very freshly trimmed. So I've seen bills in the landscape department cost between $500 to $1,000 monthly. And then most of these homes have pools, and pool service is generally about $200 a month. And then a lot of these large homes, we have housekeepers that either come weekly, bi-weekly, or some people have full-time housekeepers. So that's going to vary as well. And I've seen people pay anywhere from $200 to $1,000 monthly for their housekeeping costs. And then I like to factor in just a little bit of miscellaneous maintenance, and that's about $2,500 annually. And that includes things like touching up the baseboards or different nicks in the wall, things like that, caulking in the showers, just making sure your home is kept up to date and in good working condition. Before I get into the lifestyle portion of the video, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Lisa Lopez, and I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I'm a real estate consultant, and I specialize in luxury real estate. I have a passion in helping families reach their real estate goals in a seamless and painless way. For more videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Summerlin has so much to offer when it comes to not only living a luxury lifestyle, but also a very active one, with so many outdoor activities right outside of the Ridges gates. It makes living an active lifestyle so easy. Just within the gates of the Ridges, you can walk from your front door and go around a horseshoe. The Ridges is pretty much a horseshoe, so you can come out your door and go to one gate, walk back to another gate, and come back to your house, and that can total 4 miles, and you don't even have to leave the guard gates of the Ridges. So that's one great thing that I like, especially if you have to do it early in the morning or late at night. Maybe you have to walk your dog or something because you've had a long day. It just creates just a nice outdoor, or the ability to be outdoors and still feel secure. Another thing that the Ridges offers for outdoor activities is that each one of the 14 sub-gates within the Ridges also has its own community park. So you could go there to picnic, walk your dog, play catch with him. And also in the Ridges, we have Club Ridges, which has many amenities. There's a full gym, there's a group exercise room, and tennis courts, pickleball courts, swimming, there's a lap pool and a recreational pool, and there's also a large park that's just adjacent to Club Ridges as well. So some other outdoor activities you could enjoy while you live in the Ridges. Just behind the Ridges there's just tons of hiking and mountain biking trails back there, and they are actually accessible by some of the communities that back up against the mountain in that BLM land. I've even seen some homes. I did a video tour of a home that's still listed, by the way. It was a $6.5 million home that had an Italian street in the basement, but that home actually has a gate that you can exit and go right into those hiking trails. So that was kind of cool, and I've seen that in a couple listings here as well. Just about 15 minutes up the road, we have Red Rock Canyon, which again offers a 13-mile scenic loop, tons of hiking and mountain biking trails, rock climbing, picnicking, things of that sort. And then we also have, lastly, our 215 bike trail, which goes from Tropicana all the way to Centennial Hills, and you can ride that 15 miles one way. So as you can see, if you're into living a luxury and active lifestyle, the Ridges might be the community for you. And once you're all done with your day's activities and you want to venture into Summerlin's nightlife, we have downtown Summerlin just down the street, and beyond its nightlife, it has some really nice anchor stores. It has Dillard's, Macy's, and Bed Bath & Beyond, just to name a few. But it is also home to many of Summerlin's hottest night spots, such as Jing and Harlow. And a lot of people like to go there to grab a drink with their friends or a quick bite. Happy hour there in downtown Summerlin is pretty common. Just down the street, down Charleston, there's another little area close to Boca Park where we have Honey Salt and North Italia. Those are some pretty popular places to go grab a happy hour with your friends or colleagues from work as well. We also have Red Rock Station's casino that's not too far. It's probably about 7 minutes from the Ridges, where of course you can gamble, you can eat, but there's also some things to do with your family as well. Red Rock Stations has a bowling alley, it has a movie theater, and it also has a Kids Quest where you can drop your children off for a few hours and they can play and in a supervised setting while you go do your adult stuff. But I do believe you have to stay on property. I don't think you can drop them off and like go hiking or something like that. But it's a very good option to have at your fingertips if needed. The one thing I think Summerlin as a whole is lacking is a good place to have coffee, or a unique place to have coffee. We have Starbucks, we have Coffee Bean, we have Pete's Coffee, and we do have Makers and Finders in downtown Summerlin, but that's pretty much it. I really like to venture out into unique coffee places or cafes, and I really like to support those that are locally owned. We do also have Cafe Leon, which is in Tivoli Village. That's a nice place. I really like to go there. I do go there a lot to meet my girlfriends for coffee. What else would you like to know about the Ridges? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so let's move on to security. As you know, I just discussed, the Ridges is made up of 14 sub-communities, and we have 2 guard gates. So we have 2 guard gates, one on DI and one on Flamingo. Each sub-community has its own gate and its own transponder access and gate code for guests. So even if you live in the Ridges, you don't get free reign to all the neighborhoods within the Ridges, keeping each sub-community a little more secure than what it would be as if we just had no gates at all. We also have 24-hour roving security, and with the roving security, we have courtesy calls for open garage doors, and they will also make alarm calls. So if your alarm goes off and you're not at home, the security from the Ridges will come just to see how your house is doing and only inspect the perimeter. But at least they do come out while they're waiting for Metro to come out if necessary. Security will also issue speeding tickets. So if you're speeding in the Ridges, you can expect to get a ticket. They've recently increased pretty considerably on their ticket writing process. There is a slight downside to living in the Ridges and it being a secure community, and that is that it is intertwined into a public golf course. So some things to keep in mind. I have said it on some other videos, so if I'm repeating myself to you, I'm sorry, but if you're new, you're going to want to hear this. If you're on a public golf course, it does expose your property or your neighborhood to the public because they don't have to check in really to or be a member to golf. So they can access the community. They're not supposed to, but they can access the community through the golf paths that cross over the community streets. So that is something to keep in mind. I did a little crime stat research, And I used 2 zip codes because the Ridges is in 89135, but it borders 89138. And I took an average of the crimes that were reported within the last 12 months. And what I found was that there were 507 crimes against property, 180 crimes against people, and 26 crimes against society, which I'm not quite sure what that means, but I thought I'd throw that stat in there for you anyway. The Ridges itself, I've lived here for 12 years. I want to give you my experience here. I have never had anything happen to me while living in the Ridges. I've never had a break-in. I've seen and heard of break-ins, but of course break-ins are gonna happen. You're living in a luxury community. This is where thieves make the most money. But it is difficult to get in here, so they don't happen all the time. But through my experience, I've never experienced anything off, anything scary. And I walk my dog pretty regularly at 5 a.m. and in the winter months, 5 a.m., it's really dark, and I've never had a problem other than with coyotes. So people have completely left me alone here. I feel 100% safe and secure. I hate to admit it, but there have been times I've forgotten to lock a couple of my back doors and nothing's ever happened. I have accidentally left a garage door open, and before the securities alerted me, it's been open for a few hours and nothing's ever happened. So if you want my opinion, I think the Ridges is a great, safe place to live. I have loved being here for so many years, and I think that it is a very good and convenient way to immerse yourself into the community of Summerlin and into the luxury lifestyle of Las Vegas. Well, thank you so much for watching. For more videos about Las Vegas, make sure to check out the video on the screen. I'll see you on the next one.